Fellas, in today's video, we are looking at the top 10 best ultimates currently in Marvel Rivals. And team up ultimates, I'm counting as team ups. So the Shark and Storm, that is not an ultimate, that is a team up. Yes, you have to use your ultimate, but it's not that ultimate on its own. It'll be a little complex, otherwise it's going to be just supports and team up ultimates. Well, this is the top 10. I understand that this doesn't always look like how it should. I can see that, but I really love the tier list and I like top 10s. So hopefully this is a good combination of both. It's a good team up. Starting off, I assume this is not going to be a shock to anyone who has ever played the game, or honestly probably has even heard of the game. That is Luna Snow. It's a 12-second ultimate that completely pauses the game for the enemy team. And if your team does have the push or good comms, you can switch to the damaging portion of it to do increased bonus damage, like a team up ultimate, but actually not a team up ultimate, allowing other ultimates to get easy one-shots and team wipes. Does need comms for that, otherwise just her basic is extraordinarily good. Now why is her ultimate up there but someone like Cloak and Dagger isn't? Because more people can kill Cloak and Dagger out of her ultimate than you can with Luna. Hawkeye can one-shot you. A Thor at the start of his ultimate can kill Cloak and Dagger, not Luna. Things like that. And then I did make a bonus category at the bottom now that I thought about it for because we have someone like Penny here. I know what her ultimate does. You spread her webs. Okay, right? Like, okay. Another support that I think is good for this list, but nowhere near as high, is Loki. Loki can copy any ultimate in the game. Yes, sure. But you could play as Luna and for sure get your ultimate and know how to use it from consistency. With Loki, you can't copy a Luna ult if she's not in the game. And then you have to wait for them to be in the fight to get sight, things like that. While Loki is very strong and his ultimate is very interesting to use, it's not the best ultimate, but it is still a very good ultimate. Because you can copy what you want, but it's very, very much limited if the teams just aren't running decent characters, or even at the very least characters that you yourself know how to play, which severely hinders him in that regard. Incredibly powerful, but also incredibly situational. The fact that he can choose to do a support ultimate or a offensive ultimate is what makes him onto the list. Otherwise, he would be an honorable mention. At lucky spot number 2, we do have the Punisher for Final Judgment. Final Judgment does tend to spark out support ultimates, which isn't always a great thing if you're trying to get picks as a DPS. But what makes this better over someone like Iron Man, for example, is you can choose the next target. So if you get a pick, you can choose the next target to shoot. You don't have to be firing the whole time, so you can move fast. He does incredible damage, while a Magneto or a Strange can soak up the maximum pulse of Iron Man. If they try to do that for Punisher, their shield is going to break and they're going to be killed off really fast. He's incredibly good. With the right bonuses, you can get picks and support ultimates. He also charges it up really fast. It lasts like 10 seconds, so not as long as the support ultimate, however, still very, very strong. Nowadays, actually, as another honorable mention, is Hand of Khonshu. This was severely broken at first, and then there's a weird, they said it was a bug, but not really, but kind of, where you couldn't even hear the ultimate. You would hear the, and you're dead. At least now, typically it's the moon, and then either you're dead or you're far enough away to be out of the ultimate. As the one that was really, really strong for a long time, and now not as, we have Winter Soldier with Kraken Impact, I think it's called. He jumps up high and he yells again upon getting a kill. This was getting team wipes. If you were on social media at all, you would have seen the 20 pieces that he was picking up. He gets his abilities fast. If you get hit by this, it's one shot to the dome, you're dead, and he can do it again. And he can go off of Loki clones. Super duper strong, can go on forever as far as I'm aware, and the enemy team kind of feeds at that point. But nowadays, it is a little bit weaker as the death gate is a little bit lower, and the ultimate plus a headshot does not kill a squishy, although basically any other damage after that will. It will ether teams, and if the teams are grouped together, you get hit by the first ultimate, he gets to pick on someone else, you get hit by the second ultimate, and you're dead. Speaking of we do have Mantis. Her ultimate is not good. I find it lasts a very short time. It's just never been good in my opinion. But after that, we do have Magic. Why would Magic be better than someone like Iron Man, you might think? Magic can kill the support ultimates in their support. She moves around a ton, she gets overshield as she attacks, she's incredibly strong, she gets her ultimate pretty darn fast too. So when you have someone that can deal wide area of effect damage just as a regular, can charge up and kill support ultimates in their ultimates, she's a very strong and effective character. Unfortunately, she does take a lot of skill to play, so you can't really just pick her up and do well. There is a odd learning gap. But she's very strong, easily one of the best ultimates in the game. Black Widow has a type ultimate. Now we do have Star-Lord next at number 5. Should he be ranked up higher? Honestly, I think it's debatable, especially with his most recent patch. But the main issue I find with him is that terrain I find plays a lot more impact, especially since you're up high, and that causes the problem. I don't think it's weak by any means. It's still number 5 out of like 38, 39 characters at the moment. This will melt just about anyone it touches, but you do have to focus more on the squishies. Otherwise, with someone like a tank, they can be healed up. And again, using things like terrain is a big impact on Star-Lord, especially compared to someone like the Punisher. Someone like the Punisher or even Bucky, you hear the ultimate and it's like, okay, we gotta be really strategic or we're gonna die. When you hear Legendary, it's, okay, let's get under cover or try to see where he is and just not be there. I think Groot is a good pick as well. Why is he number 10? His ultimate is very simple to use. Yeah, shoot out, you pick a spot and shoot at your seed. And ideally you have walls set up or your teams around because that will suck in any enemy that's close. And your walls can help deal damage and you can get easy picks that way. It's not one that needs to be teamed up with another person, although it is very beneficial. Plus on top of all that, he gets his ultimate, I think it's the fastest in the game at the moment. Incredibly strong. There's not really a counter to it besides support ultimates, but it's much more effective than some of the other ultimates that are more so just to call out the supports. One I will add, actually up here in the honorable mentions, is Squirrel Girl. I know it's Squirrel Girl, I have to. She's on everything I do. Up next we do have Iron Man. Iron Man's ultimate takes a second to charge. He shoots it out, does area of effect damage, and then just a big ass blob of damage, doing I think it's about 1,000 total damage or so. This is going to kill everyone it touches. The supports that are ulting, everyone. The reason why it's not higher, because that sounds super effective, is even though you can charge it up very, very fast, you can get countered fairly easy with anyone that has a shield. Magneto with his ultimate. And it's a very small area of effect that you really need to land things in. Otherwise, it just does some damage. So it's very, very strong if you can land it, and a support ultimate isn't going to stop anything there, but it is very much limited. Magneto's going on the honorable mentions. At number 7, making Iron Man number 8, we do have Inviswoman. Why is she up here over Cloak and Dagger? If you stay within your barrier, your giant ass cylinder, you're going to stay alive, but you can be pulled out of it. Some ultimates can get in there and kill you, but for the most part, you have better survivability than someone like Cloak and Dagger. This heals up your team, and a big ass cylinder slows down the other team if they try to get into it. And then it makes it a lot harder for the enemy supports or DPS that are outside of it to see what's going on. Same with tanks, but it's also something that you can just throw up just like that onto your team. Whereas with Cloak and Dagger, it does have a little bit of a charge up. So it's faster, better, and with more debuffs to the enemy team. Now, I actually was stuck between Doctor Strange and The Thing for who should be in the spot, but I think Doctor Strange has the better ultimate, especially with the rest of his kit. Yes, you can stun Doctor Strange out of his ultimate before he gets it off, sure. You can do that with a handful of the characters. That's not really a big make or break from how I'm doing things. Whoever he hits on the enemy team basically gets landlocked, which is very similar to how The Thing does things. But the bonus part is that their souls come out of their body, which is a really cool effect anyways. And then with his E ability, which you should have that pretty close to full by the time you do use your ultimate, you pop it, and because of the recent update, that will kill most of the squishies in the area, as it does double the damage. Very effective, very good for getting picks. It charges up pretty decently, and it's good for getting a couple of picks or wiping out a team. Very, very effective. His ultimate is very strong, all things considered. Beating out someone like Thor, who it's kind of weak, I find. The Thing actually was a very close contender, but Doctor Strange just goes out in a circle where The Things is just a long line. And so this, I think, is the top 10 best Ultimates currently in Marvel Rivals in a nicer looking top 10 format while still being a tier list. Tell me, do you think anyone should be in a different spot? I think they're in a pretty good spot, all things considered. Hit that like button if you're still watching, subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next one. YouTube thinks you like this video next? Let me know if you do.